excellent. All right. All right. Just discuss objectives, discuss selected progress, and then discuss next meeting and way forward. So welcome and introduction. I don't think anybody needs to be introduced. Perhaps the only person that you haven't met is Sayuri, who has joined on the call. Sayuri has been assisting me with a lot of flooding work, etc., and will be assisting me with some of the wrapping up of this particular project as well. So I don't know whether any of you have met Sayuri or you've participated in a meeting before this, Sayuri, but yeah, welcome to the meeting. Sayuri's got a MSc in hydrology as well, and has been working with us for close on a year now, I think. Yeah. Right.
Hi, Sayuri. Yeah, from my side, I hadn't met her. Maybe Ntando had already met her.
Oh, I think we were in the same third year hydrology class, Footy.
Oh, is it? Okay. Yeah, maybe because I can't see the face as well.
Yes. All right. Okay, I'm going to carry on. So, yeah, a brief review of previous meetings minutes. So that was the official progress meeting was held on the 12th of February. Last weekly 12 TOS meeting was on the 27th of May. Outputs from that meeting were scheduled SWOT training dates that were set in place. SWOT training was scheduled, and my feedback is that that's basically been completed, and that yeah, all of those elements have been finalized, and the training material is available and uploaded on on Google Drive and also shared via YouTube, I believe. Share link to catchment assessments, and Tando has sent that through and sorted that out. Schedule workshop with Kim Hodgson and water quality. That hasn't been done yet. The reason that I've tried to contact Kim several times, but she's indicated that she's busy, and yeah, we haven't quite managed to sort of connect on that. But it's also you know, we've moved on and actually done a whole lot of the water quality elements anyway, and I think we're going to want to present the sort of final outcomes associated with that. Share mock-ups on demo dashboards. Those were done, and we'll go through some of that just now. Schedule weekly TOS and meetings. That was again done. Updated SWOT model report for Q3 deliverable. That was finalized. Share research papers on algae blooms. I haven't actually done that. It's sitting there on my desk. I haven't collated the information properly, but I should actually have that for you by end of week. Schedule next progress meeting. That was possibly the 26th of February. That we have done. We're going to need more progress meetings over the next couple of weeks, I think. Sorry, were you happy with the minutes, etc.? Can I carry on, or was there any changes that you need? They were sent out almost directly after that meeting. Okay, I'm going to take silence as happy with that. Just a project overview. So 4 main components: improve the understanding and issues that are causing water quality problems in the Umgeni system. Use this better knowledge to develop and review methods to provide water product quality predictions on the Umgeni system. Second one was improve the early warning flood forecasting systems currently used by Umgeni. And then set up water satellite-based water quality monitoring to track various spatial phenomena related to water quality problems in the main reservoirs, and then set up and commissioning of the rainfall forecasting systems. So of those elements, component 1 is still what we're working on mainly. The rest has actually been finalized and done quite well, and those systems seem to be running reasonably effectively. They have been commissioned and sent off to other groups, and then component 3 here is continuously updating, and information is coming through. Some of the improvements in terms of the water quality predictions on the Umgani system is kind of what we'll discuss in a minute or two. So from our perspective, I'm going to be discussing components 1 and component 3, and taking these ahead. I'm actually going to start with component 3. So I thought I'd just update you on the satellite water quality measurements and why that matters. So single point water quality measurements provide nothing of the spatial patterns of water quality distribution in particular reservoirs. These patterns provide good information on the development and progression of water quality problems in individual reservoirs. The satellite measurements provide vital inputs for the verification of limnology models developed for the various reservoirs. Without those spatial patterns, we wouldn't be able to understand what's going on. They provide a consistent basis for reporting information which does not rely on labor-intensive on-site measurement, and they're good support for more detailed, accurate monitoring programs. And they provide a more holistic picture of water quality status at a reservoir level. In the satellite water quality analyses, there were a couple of, there's 3 main sort of problems statements that I'm going to sort of highlight at the moment. So while the initial results showed promise, with satellite-based water quality indicators showing promise in mapping various trends, and in some cases direct equation correlations, linking these back to the water quality limits used by Umgani Usuthu Water proved problematic. So we needed to develop a method to take the best algorithm performance and redefine water quality limits against limits set for water quality requirements by Umgani Usuthu Water. Category matching approaches where satellite indicators, so a category matching approach was developed where satellite indicators were matched to the water quality limits, and test runs of water quality bands to give the highest number of category matches. So we changed the approach related to this to see if we could get that. So we had the information that was given to us on terms of the different water quality constituents that water quality Umgani Usuthu altogether water measured, and we then needed to get those into these categories. The initial results that we had from the initial modeling approach that we used came out with these sort of indicators showing the best correspondence, if you like, associated with different indicators. So this is your water quality indicator or constituent that was measured, and then these were the corresponding best equations or best satellite indicators associated with those, and we selected a number of those satellite water quality indicators. Now, that was the initial results that we came out with. So the initial results do not look too inspiring. And here I've just taken chlorophyll. No, sorry, I think this is algae. This is the algae example where you've got different indicators that are sort of running up against these things and having a look at the correlations associated with that. And you'll see that from these correlation matrices that we've got, you can see which ones are sort of performing in terms of the best predictors. So getting R squareds with polynomial sort of matches where you're comparing measured data against other data. Now, the problem with this is a little bit deceptive because the fluctuations are high in certain of the water quality measurements. So you can have a very high point water quality measurement, but with the satellite, you're measuring over a number of pixels. So the question is are those two going to be commensurate? And there's obviously more fluctuations associated with that. We have found that we're able to pick up the trends well, but the magnitude creates these high residuals, particularly with large anomalous results. So this means that these R squareds are not quite as good as they could really be due to the fact that you have these sort of large fluctuations associated with that.
Sorry,
So of
Jason, are
course,
we talking about the initial results or this is the
these
current status,
these are the initial results, yeah. So I'm just
not the
showing you
current?
what the problems, yeah.
Okay.
All right. And then what you also see over here is some indicators perform better in different dams with high correlation results. And the universal algorithm is less well performing, but we would like to use a universal algorithm because it gives us some indicators beyond these things. So again, for algae over here, you can see that, you're getting for Midmar, for instance, with some of these, you're getting correlations of 0.6, 0.7 to 0.8, which is very high, 0.9 in some cases, and various other sort of things. So individual dams perform differently, but then the consolidated results perform slightly differently with different indicators coming out as good. So the question is, how can we sort of manage this process and get these things to correlate with each other? So what we had a look at is we took the categories associated with the water quality results, and there's 5 categories. So they go from exceptional, good, satisfactory, poor, and unsatisfactory. So those results sort of fluctuate like that across the measured areas. So if you take these categories and you compare them against each other and you rank the results and you adjust the sort of windows, if you like, associated with different satellite quality indicators, how do we get these matches? And what you see over here is these types of things actually can match out quite well against various indicators. So there you see the actual measured results, algae count in cells per millimeter, and then you have the same categories picked up by satellite. You can see that they actually do reasonably well on certain of the categories over here. And this is algae, so algae is not the best of matches. But if you move to things, this over here is look at turbidity, for instance, where we get high correlations, and you can see that they match pretty well. Even over here, you're only getting a 1 category miss with a 5 versus a 4 result, etc. So you start to see these trends actually coming out quite nicely in the actual match results. And when we have a look at these in terms of category matching, we've developed a set of statistics related to this. This is just changes in how we represent different category matches with having a look at percentiles related to that. So are we going to, have a look between the 99th percentile, the one and the 1 percentile, or we're going to have a look between the 91 percentile and the 9 percentile, and then we adjust those, and then there's some additional associated with that. What you see over here at the top of these is we get some perfect matches. And what you see, for instance, is this one over here. It's getting like an 85% match associated with that. And even a category 1 misses are like 12%. So if you compare that against your category 3 and 4 matches, you're getting a 97%, and these ratios are very high at 77.5. This one's very strong as well at 156, where you're just comparing those ratios. So it's just a way of looking at these scorings and see how well are they doing. So basically, with a 5 category system, if you had a completely random matching, you would have a situation where the perfect matches compared to the other ones would be around about 20%, because you'd be hitting or missing associated with that. So the fact that you're getting in these 80s, etc., gives us a good indication that we actually got quite strong, at least for this one. The same happens with the the same thing happens with the sorry. A bit of a chest problem. All right, the same thing happens with the algae and E. coli and these types of things. We get quite good matches. They're not as good as turbidity, but again, scoring well above chance. So they at least in the 40 to 50%, which means that most of the time we're getting reasonable results with 1 or 2 category misses. The second aspect that
Sorry, Jason, I'm looking for turbidity there because I saw chlorophyll A, cyanobacteria, algae, but I'm struggling to see turbidity.
No, sorry. Okay, this might not have been turbidity. This might have been the E. coli indicator. Sorry. So this is the E. coli. So it's this one over here. That's where the setup is. I mean, Freddie, I can show you these things in the actual spreadsheets, but they're quite complicated, and I'm still trying to work out how to summarize these results reasonably. But yeah, sorry, you're right. It's E. coli there, not turbidity. All right, water quality, satellite water quality, the problem statement associated with that is also the data volume is high, with the majority requirements for continual processing and analyzing. So we've developed scripts for automated categorization and analysis of water quality information directly from ArcGIS Pro to assist with monthly water quality mapping and making monthly reporting easier. And then set up some initial water quality dashboards that can assist with continued ongoing monitoring of the situation, which is something that we've kind of taken on as our own project related to this, because we think the results are pretty good now, and it's something that we think is a good idea to try and have a look at. All right, so
Jason, while still on that, the previous slide.
Yes.
Please go back.
Yeah.
So you do have that monthly water quality monitoring reporting that is happening.
Yes.
Or you're saying that the results will now enhance the monthly water quality monitoring. And do you have any results from these water quality dashboards that you developed at the moment?
Yeah, I'll show you those now. So Futi, I mean, if we have a look at these, sorry, let me just go into this sort of thing. Is this on? Yeah, so this is a replication of what's happening on your drive at the moment. So if I go into here and we have a look at Umgani water quality, what you're getting is these sets of information. So we've stacked them up. 2017 was about as the earliest that these satellites started reporting, and we've gone through to 2026. So what basically happens is it captures, if there's no cloud over a dam, then it'll capture dam information for that. If there are clouds, then it leaves those dams out. So here, for instance, Ananda has got a set, and there's a set of information associated with Ananda's processing that is reasonably good in this particular case. Sorry, I'm having a little trouble breathing. I just want to grab an asthma pump very quickly. I'll come back in 1 second, if you don't mind. Sorry.
No problem.
All right, sorry about that. All right. So yeah, so you've got these stacks. I mean, and those go back as and they come out every 5 or 10 days. It just depends which satellite captures and which is there. And again, you've got these sort of setups. So what I've done with that and with Intando is we've generated a system where you capture this information over here, and you can put in different dates associated with that. So you can then put in the dates related to that, and then it just loops through, and it looks for the different dates. And if it finds a date that has got information associated with it, then it'll process that particular setup. And now we've set that up for these different water quality indicators, and the results look, sorry, this is on the server. Go to algae over here, and let's say Midmar. You get these results that are automatically stacked out. So, you know, that would be Midmar on that particular date, and they're the 5 categories that you have from excellent through to unsatisfactory. So you can see there's a spatial distribution associated with these different data results. And what you'll see from that, if I go back here, is, you know, there's Midmar versus Ananda. So Midmar you'll see is generally blue, and Ananda is worse water quality. I mean, it does have periods of good water quality, and then it goes into periods of bad water quality, and you can get an idea of how these track. So that's what we've got at the
So
moment.
Jason,
Yeah.
sorry to disturb you. You know, we've got our internal water quality index that is done by our water quality department, and they update it on a monthly basis. So it would be great if we can benchmark these with that water quality index, because that one does not really use a satellite, but it uses the actual measured sampled water quality. So you're saying Ndando does have access to this. I think in some of the previous meetings, we had
Yes.
requested for maybe if you can align these the categories from satisfactory to poor to be more aligned with the Umgeni Utugela ones, because we use different colors as well.
Yeah.
For red,
Fruity, we've done exactly that. We've aligned them to your water quality indicators. Let me see if I can find it. Just 1 second. So these are these scoring things. So here are your water quality limits exactly from Umgeni. These are what you use for your different categories, for dams or for input water quality. So I've taken the worst one of these and had a look at it. Now, this is the reason that I need to meet with Kim and with the water quality guys is, and this is why I've been requesting the meetings, because the satellite algorithms they're not going to change. What they present and what the information that they present comes out as is. How you stack that against your water quality limits is really the crux of the entire discussion. So what we need is on-field experts to have a look at that. Now, in terms of the water quality monitoring systems and setups that we've got, these are the parameters associated with that, and then weighting those into indices is quite easy for us to do. But it's also quite important to remember that the reporting that you're getting out here is for an entire dam, and the dams vary across the things, and I'll have to explain some of the stuff that we've done, but we have aligned it with your reporting now. That's specifically what we did with this particular approach that we're looking at with the category alignment. So if we go to turbidity, for instance, we've had a look at turbidity, and we've had a look at the sort of scorings associated with it. Okay, it was actually turbidity. I just got the wrong scoring analysis there. So I've done that with turbidity. I've done it with E. coli. So again, here's your coli indicators, and again, you can see those in the upper sort of 80% related to the scorings there. The same with algae. That's aligned. So I've aligned those categories.
Yes, that's fine, Jason.
Okay.
But
All
the
right.
colors of the actual visual of the map, like let's say you're looking at Mi'kmaq or you're looking at Inanda,
Yeah.
how you categorize the colors that you use to represent unsatisfactory, the colors you use to represent poor, excellent, good. We wanted them to be aligned with the Umgeni Utukela ones.
Okay,
Yes,
well, I mean
those.
that's easy enough to change. I mean, we can change one element related to that. The
Excellent
issue
is
that
fine.
okay, the element that I just want to indicate related to that though is like you might want different indicators associated with different setups. So this, in terms of algae, I think is quite intuitive because it's going from dark green to blue. But again, if you want it from red to green or whatever it is, that indicator is there. But just remember that the water quality index is a weighting of these different elements. So it's like which ones come together to meet the thing. And again, that has to be discussed with the water quality guys to pull that information up. But that's what we've got at the moment, and it's quite easy. I mean, this is one change on the thing, and these setting up all of these maps. I've actually mapped every single water quality setup associated with that, so I can change these colors reasonably quickly because that's just a change in the set out, and then this will take about an hour and a half to run through and generate all of these maps again. Okay.
Okay, no,
So I'm
it's great
happy to
if
do
that
that.
can be done. And I'm happy that you okay, I understand the dynamic that you're also highlighting, that you try to align the colors with the determinants. But for us, we look at the determinants in one dashboard. All of the E. coli, turbidity, algae, nutrients, will be represented in just one index that it would be telling you an overall water quality of a dam. It does not really tell you a distribution of the determinants or water quality in the dam. But I understand what you're talking about in terms of trying to also bear that in mind, that you're trying to show different determinants differently.
Yes. So again, Fruity, this is where we need to discuss things with water quality. That's why I need that workshop with the guys to discuss this with them. Is you've got a certain way of presenting things. I can present it in that way, but we also need to discuss how these things are presented. And there's other elements related to it that are quite difficult in their own right, because and I'll have to show you what I mean by that in a second. So just let me get to the next part of the discussion, because now we've got all of these individual indicators. We can now generate a single overall indicator for a dam. Now, the question that you have is, what do we include? It's like, do we include just the visual indicators that work quite well, like algae, chlorophyll, turbidity, those types of things we can pick up relatively well. There's secondary indicators which we also able to pick up, like phosphorus and nitrates. But it's the thing is they are secondary, because what we're doing is we're still picking up the visual cue. We're just correlating it to other indicators that you're having a look at. So when you generate these things, do you want those presented as their own constituents, or do you just want to show the main primary ones that we can pick up reasonably well? That's the type of thing that we need to discuss again with the water quality guys. So these things are outputting. It's just now just how you present them is the critical thing. And I think that's what I'm kind of wanting to get to in the next phase. So
Yeah, okay. So Jason, on that one,
yeah,
I think in the previous meeting we had said if we can't get hold of Kim, let's try the other water quality sciences, Mlondi. And if that fails, we'll have to make a call because we need to close the project.
Yes.
We focus on the primary ones. We still have an option to show the secondary ones, but then bearing in mind that they will not be as accurate as the primary ones. They have some limitations with them. So whoever's using that data would need to bear that in mind.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So the progress is the new satellite water quality limits have been set for these ones, which are the primary ones that we've had a look at. So algae, chlorophyll, E. coli, and turbidity. And we are working on the other ones anyway. Mapping updates for all dams are in progress. So the development of the characteristic comparative scorings and visualizations, we're having a look at. Now, in terms of the dashboards that have been developed. So the question is how do we show this information across that? So what you've got is you've got certain sets of information that can show you whether something is in an excellent condition, a satisfactory or unsatisfactory condition. Now, just remember, Fruity, we've developed these as our own sort of indicators, but we'll link these back to you. But this is the kind of stuff that we're sort of outputting at the moment. Now, if we have a look at a particular dam, let's say we're looking at, in this case, Nagle Dam, where we've got an unsatisfactory presentation of that, we can have a look at a historic time related to that, where it's gone from poor to unsatisfactory and then back to satisfactory again. So it's popped through a number of these elements that you've had a look at over here. So in the moment, let's say it's in this at that particular date, which was I think it had gone back to a satisfactory condition over there. So what you would have a look at then is you can go through here, and this is the indicators that you've got associated with that. So you've got from excellent, good, satisfactory, poor, and unsatisfactory. And what you can see over here is that the dam's condition changes over time, and this is guesses where you're talking about having these colors, because I mean we've got blue to red over here, and we've got blue to green over here. But anyway, the dark green category is related to unsatisfactory over here. So that's what we're kind of having a look at. But the way that we've done this is what you see over here is the dam captured from the satellite and the condition associated with that particular dam. Now, at this particular stage, if we had a look at the water quality as last year sometime when you're having that problem with the releases from Albert Falls causing issues in Nagle itself, what you see over here is the spatial pattern related to it. But the question that you have is what is the dam? Is it bad or is it good? Now, it's quite easy to sort of eyeball these at the moment and say, okay, well, it's in poor condition or whatever condition associated with it is. But sometimes they actually it's not that easy to see. But what you see over here is what we've done is we've counted a histogram of all of the water quality measurements across the entire dam. So this is also where there's a problem where you might have different indicators indicating different components. So the one over here, for instance, if your water quality measurement is in this region up here, that's going to look good in the point water quality, but in actual fact, the entire dam is poor. I think the measurement is over here somewhere, but the point is that it varies across the dam. So what we've done is we've taken the histogram and whatever the highest category is of the different constituents. So let's say in this particular case on 8th of March, most of it was in the unsatisfactory condition. Then you can see the March the 8th over there, which would be recorded as unsatisfactory. In April the 17th, most of the dam is in this sort of satisfactory condition, which is reasonably good, in which case it's reported as satisfactory. So that's the way that we've kind of conceptualized measurement of a whole dam and visualizing that particular measurement related to the dam. And I don't know how you would improve on that, to be quite frank. I mean, we've done some pretty serious thinking associated with that. And I don't know if you've got any comments related to this.
Yes, I do have comments. Like I was saying, the water quality index in our organization is also it is updated on a monthly and now weekly due to this algal bloom. The algal bloom is still in existence. And we know that for most of 2025, the dam was in a poor status, like unsatisfactory poor status. So what you're showing for 2025, 03, 08 would be the expected trend across. But it would be much easier if I had also the water quality index for these dates just to compare. But from just looking from a high level, the April and the January ones may not be necessarily showing the true status on the ground, because this dam has been like unsatisfactory continuously throughout 2025. Maybe now it fluctuates between unsatisfactory and poor, and hardly any satisfactory status because the algal bloom is still active. Even though the algal number seems to be decreasing, in Nanda is now the one that has got a severe issue, and Albert Falls. So yeah.
Yeah. So we are seeing that trend in Ananda. If I go to these, let's go to one back. I don't have Ananda map like this yet, but I mean, yeah, you can see Ananda's starting to get, I mean, these are the latest ones for Ananda. So it's mostly in the poor to unsatisfactory.
Yes, that's the current status that we've been observing for the past 3 months, I would say. But yeah, the upper dam, which is the inflow, up to that first curve of the dam, normally is poor compared to the main basin. But now you see that the dam throughout is almost poor and unsatisfactory, mostly in all parts of the dams.
So you can see that progression has happened, and it's been captured accurately on the satellite. So I mean, the point is that you
And
kind
Albert
of need
Falls,
to.
let's look at Albert Falls and Meadma as well, just for interest's sake. I see the improvements in this
Albert
work.
Falls, I'm not quite sure whether I've mapped that out yet fully. Let me just see over here. Got Midmar. Yeah, I haven't got that on these. Oh, there it is. Okay, let's have a look there. Yeah, Futi, I haven't applied this new mapping to Albert Falls yet, so I can do that for you. I don't think that we're going to get it. I mean, I can try and run the thing, but it's going to take me a
no
bit
problem.
of time
If you don't have it, it's fine. Let's look at Meadma.
Midmar, I can show you. That's fine. So let's go back here. So there's Midmar in the past few months. So it's generally good. There are, like, I mean, let's see if I can step through these things as a. Yeah, so there's. Yeah, okay, so there's December, you're stepping through. Yeah, these are a little bit, when you've got lots of cloud, it's not so easy to sort of make the exact measurements. There it's still between satisfactory and excellent. What you can see is your input sort of flows from Lions River and Pupaweni do show certain poorer results in certain areas.
Yeah, so that's the true status we are seeing. So Meadma has significantly improved, because we are seeing Meadma also now starting to deteriorate, and our guys at operations have indicated that the water quality is now getting less good compared to previous years. And those inflows from Mpopomeni and Lions River, yes, are the problematic ones.
Yeah, so it obviously varies, but yes, I mean, I think if you compare this to previous years, you will see that it is worse than those. Sorry, this is from 2017. Oh, geez. Let me escape from that. I thought I clicked on. Let's go. Yeah, so I mean, if you have a look over here, there's your 2017 year. It varies over time, but you can see 2020 is okay. Then you get to 2024. So now if we're going into, so this is towards the end of 2025. And you're starting to get, so yeah, you're seeing some not so good water quality in 2026.
Yes. So if possible, please do for Albert Falls, because remember, Albert Falls was one of the main interests that we were also benchmarking with the Sayona Lakes system
Yeah,
as well.
well, I've asked several times for the Sayona Lake stuff, Freddie, because I mean, I can't compare Sayona Lakes, and the other problem that I have there is when you're discussing these things with these guys, it's problematic for me, because if they've had, if they've been able to sit there and benchmark it against discussions with water quality, and I'm not able to do that, and the comparison's just not going to be there. But I think Ntando can attest that these new results are very much improved compared to what it is, and he might have mapped out extra ones, because we had a discussion and sort of trained him up on the setup of these different elements, so we can view that. But I think the crux of it all comes back to this next discussion point over here, which is conveying information on satellite monitoring performance is difficult, and statistical analysis doesn't seem to communicate the efficacy of the system. Yeah, I don't need the second effectively there. So research and development applied category matching method to improve that. We developed a method which statistically defines performance and enables comparative analysis against your categories, and show graphs progressing with satellite water quality results compared to satellite categories. So we're trying to figure out how to kind of show these. This was an initial idea. We've worked on this now and actually decided to put these categories at the bottom here instead of actual measured values. But what you do see over here, and now don't get stuck on the colors here, because this is just showing trends, all right? This is Albert Falls, for instance, and this is having a look at a specific period in 2021. And what you see over here is you've got the results coming through related to that. You can see the water quality is generally good here, and then it gets worse, and you can see that worse has been picked up. Still poor there. The measurement point's somewhere over here, so that's kind of where you kind of see, and then it starts to improve again. So you see the trend. So we're happy that we're catching a lot of these trends, and this was done with some of that previous measurement, but again, these have improved considerably. Similar with Midmar.
Jason. So from my side, I can see the improvement as well.
Yes.
And with Sayona Lakes, we have not been part of that project. It was a WRC project, and we do not have access to their what is it? To their IP unless there is a subscription. So it was just for showcasing the work that they were doing for us. So we were benchmarking what they've got with this. So we don't have access to that. So we can't even meet with them unless there is an agreement in place or a subscription in place.
Okay.
I am seeing the improvement, but I'd like to see the Albert Falls recent. The 2021 for me, it was before the algal bloom. So we wanted
Yes.
it before 2024 up until now, just to compare what's happening on the ground with what the satellite is picking up.
Okay, so that information I'll be able to give you quite soon. I'll also need, so there's another issue that I've got related to this Fruity is I can give you this information, but I can't compare it to water quality results because I don't have the water quality information and results associated with that. Now, I think in time to that you've got access to the LIMS system. So I need the latest water quality results from those different things for the last few months. So what we did do is we actually set up a process where we had those kind of mic operations framework, which could capture that information if it was exported on a regular basis, and then it would be easy to show these results, because we even had a dashboard that kind of showed their results and we could compare them easily. So I just need the water quality results to show you, because I mean the mapping is happening and that's not a problem. And again, putting these things out is very easy.
Yeah, okay, Jason. So I think in terms of a way forward, because we need to wrap up, with the current status of the analysis and the work done, we just need to know where are the gaps and where we need to pick up in future. So you need that water quality data. Ntando can be able to give you that, but I would say that we need to arrange the more like a last meeting with water quality, just to show them what has improved over time, get their inputs. That arrangement can be done through me because it's part of closing these projects. Get the final inputs from them so that we know where we are, even with their inputs. If we were to continue with this in future, we know where to begin. For me, the most critical component was for us to start and get training, especially Ntando, to understand how these things work. It was not to get a perfect picture. It's just so happened that we had an algal bloom during that period, and we had to change our focus and focus on that algal bloom so that we can see the practicality of this thing that has been developed. So let's have that meeting through me. If it's not successful, we will get an input from. That's why we wanted to have that meeting with the DWS, because there's a project that we're going to be doing with DWS National, so that they know where are the gaps. You get inputs from them before we finalize this. They are water quality specialists. They will also tell us where the gaps are. And when we pick up with them on another project, we know what we're working with.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's fine. That's 100%. So, Fruity, the idea is these outputs, etc., that we've got here, it is never going to be perfect because they are going to be approximations, but I think we're quite high here. I think the method of comparing this, I'll go through the that water quality, what do you call it, the index that you've got for Umgani, and I'll try and get it as close as I can. But again, I need Umgani's input related to that. So I'll present the information in a format that's very similar to that. Okay. In terms of the algorithms, I'll get the information and I'll finalize those other dams for you, and I'll give all of that to Ntando. He might have already been mapping that out associated with that. So that's 100% in terms of the satellite comparisons. And I'm quite confident now, particularly what I'm going to do is I'll also map. So instead of having a look at the values over here, I'll rank these into the different colored categories as well, comparing. So the measured results will fall into the categories that I showed you just now. So you'll have those as different colors, and then we can compare color to color, which I think is an easier one to have a look at. And then we can also just have a look where the measurement thing is, because it's always a point measurement compared to a overall measurement. So they might not correspond to 100%, which is, we don't expect them to necessarily. All right. I just also wanted to discuss some of the other aspects that are outputs from this. So SWOT water quality modeling, the training is completed. The training course is available online. So all of that information is available, and you can, Julia has recorded each of those sessions. So those are available online as online recordings. She said she might do some editing, and we might do some editing just to cut those down to a more succinct setups. The migration of the SWOT Plus has happened. It appears that the SWOT team, because it's like one of these freeware frameworks, there's a couple of bugs that have popped in. So there's one of the problems is with one of the reservoir components, with Julia sorting that out at the moment. The modeling updates to water quality variables have been reviewed, and adjustments are being made to improve the calibrations. And we'll need to just generate a final short modeling improvements report on that. We're not going to generate a massive report. I mean, you've already got a huge report on that. Reservoir hydrodynamics and limnology. I just wanted to discuss those elements as well.
Sorry, Jason, maybe let's go back to the water quality modeling component.
Yeah.
Because like you're saying, we're going to get a short or a summary report, like in terms of what has been generated or what the model looks like at the moment. Can that report have concrete recommendations of what can be done with this model as it stands? What are the gaps? What improvements will need to be done in future? Because it was meant to be a decision-making tool for us. So if we have set up the model, it has been upgraded to SWOT Plus, what is more practical to do with it? What can't we do with it? And what improvements do we need into the future to make it a more realistic decision support tool? So or model. So for me, that's what I need, because when we started this project, the idea was for this to help us in terms of understand the trends, of which we do understand from our work that we do with catchment assessments, the interventions we're implementing. But when we have to prioritize interventions, we need to know where. And where there was not enough data, I know there was improvements into the model where we provided additional catchment assessments, the monthly assessments that we are doing. So where are now the gaps sitting? I know there was significant gaps from the wastewater data as well, the inflows, effluents. Those needs to be highlighted and flagged in these final reports, because we need to then know what we're picking up from if we have to do any further work in future. It needs to allow us make the key decisions in terms of, do we improve our data collection, archiving of that data, and do we use the model to decide on any of the interventions that we need to implement? Do we use it to plan in terms of the future dams, in terms of the wastewater treatment plants that need to be planned? That type of highlighting what can be done and what cannot be done with this current status of the model is important for us. Again, with this one, I was not expecting anything perfect. We just needed to get started, set something up, and be able to train Dando with it, and more can be done in future in terms of the improvements.
Yeah, so Fruity, from that perspective, yes, I mean, we'll give you that information as best we can. So there are still data gaps that are problematic associated with these things. In terms of the volumetric sort of modeling, it seems to be reasonably good. I don't think you're going to improve it too much beyond that. So, the quantities of water that are going down associated with these things are reasonably good. Again, certain assumptions have to be made that might not be 100% accurate in those, like some of the dam releases and stuff like that. I mean, but you can capture that. I think the largest issues that you have in these things are even if you pick up data gaps, there's no real sort of plugging of those data gaps at the moment that's kind of happening. So a lot of your wastewater treatment works, the only information that you've got are kind of the overall sort of load components related to them. You haven't got time series of flows and releases and stuff like that. So getting your timings right on daily sort of water quality modeling is quite difficult related to that, because obviously, if you have a large release into the stream, then you're going to have a water quality variable that's jumps or doesn't jump. And then you've also got issues associated with how the water quality is measured, which are, because it's sporadic, you don't necessarily pick up the differences. Yes, Ntando, yeah.
Yes, Jason, I wanted to add regarding some of the issues that we encountered when we doing the training with Julia. Just want to confirm with you as well. That's one of the biggest challenges, is that I think for our wastewater works, we managed to capture time series data very well. But for private wastewater works like your Hilton College and other smaller wastewater works, there is really limited data in terms of the time series data. We had to make assumptions. Some of the assumptions were based on the fact that we used the capacity of that wastewater works in terms of estimations, looking at for, let's say, for smaller wastewater works, the trends would be fairly similar in terms of the inflows and releases. So those were parts of the assumptions that we actually made for those smaller wastewater works that we did not have any data. So yeah, for me, I would think that if we will adopt this model, we will need to look at getting some data for those smaller wastewater works and make informed assumptions. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think, the short answer to your question, Futi, is yes, we'll put in modeling improvements and make those suggestions. All right, the next section that I wanted to move on to was reservoir hydrodynamics and limnology. So again, this particular element is highly dependent on input data associated with these different aspects. We have set up models for 3 dams. Unfortunately, we still haven't got the bathymetry for Nagle, so we haven't set that up. But I think Nagle you can almost handle as a single bucket. Anyway, the results were encouraging. We combined the SWOT model information with actual inputs. So where we had measured data, we'd put the measured data in. If we didn't have measured data, then we'd have to use the SWOT modeling outputs and use the eutrophication template to generate results. The eutrophication template has got a whole lot of variables like algae components related to it, but it's also got various elements related to sediment and other things. So you can look at a large number of constituents that you're modeling. All right, we had a look at 3 dams, Ananda, Midmar, and Albert Falls. I'm not going to go through all of the setups, but essentially Ananda was the one that we put in as a 3D model. So there's the bathymetry that is then translated. There's the not bathymetry, but the contour lines for the dam. those are translated into bathymetry. So that's the underwater topography. And then that's put into a flexible mesh like you see over here. And that mesh is then used in the actual modeling framework. Here are the NANDA results. Now, this is done with a synchronized sort of time period associated with the dam, comparing an algae bloom in the dam. And again, this is in a measured time period that we could have a look at. I've forgotten exactly which it is. I think this, well, I'll give you those results. But what you can see over here is this is the satellite image, and then this is the and then these are the modeled results associated with that. And you can see that this algae plume moves through and is reasonably well synchronized with the flows. We need to improve some of the structures related to this. The outlet wasn't working quite 100%. But what you see is it's quite well replicated in terms of the hydrodynamics there. Again, what you'll see is similar situation with Albert Falls is generally well replicated. What we're not getting on Albert Falls, though, and Julia and I have discussed this, but we can't actually figure out what's happening. But we think that it might be a situation where the dam in the simulation is a little bit fuller than where it was, because there's this kind of island that pops up over here. And it might have been pushing the water more to this side than we expected. But what we would have expected is that there's more pollution along this edge over here. And we thought it might be coming from catchments here, which we hadn't represented. But when we have a look at the actual area, it's pretty undeveloped. So I think it's more related to the fact that the water needs to push around here, around that island area a bit more. So I think that the height of the dam is not 100% correct there. So again, we'll have a look at a couple of improvements, and we need some additional dates with that. Midmar, just having a look at patterns here. So don't have a look at the actual algae count, because this is the one that's been modified and changed. But that's the patterns that you see over there. And if you compare those to the Midmar sort of setups, you can see that you get these sort of algae blooms that come out. What's quite intriguing is I would have thought that Mpophomweni would push more water in. It's the second branch over here, but there actually seems to be more coming from agricultural sort of runoff coming through here. So this dam is possibly not as good as it could be in terms of those things. But we're getting the spatial patterns related to where we're starting to see these concentrations coming up. And again, with the different satellite indicator here, we might get better results on that. And then I'll compare those to the modeled results. And we should be able to fix the modeling a little bit here, again, related to this. Okay. And then just in terms of project finalization, the key aspects that we need to finalize is we need a final consolidated report. Now, Fruity, that's one of the inputs that I really kind of need from your side in terms of this is there's massive amounts of data related to this particular project. I mean, there's just in terms of report structures, there's probably 5,000 pages of just report information, and that's without appendices and without additional aspects related to this. So I'm not quite sure how to finalize this in terms of the final consolidated report. My sort of idea associated with it was that we just do a final sort of executive summary and then refer to other reports and appendices, and then pull out some key results to show.
I'm fine with that, Jason, except that I would like to provide my comments, because I did have a look at the various reports that you were submitting, but did not necessarily submit my comments. If I can submit my comments and on that way forward, you provide an executive summary, but then update the individual reports that you have submitted based on the comments that you'll get and then you can put them
Okay.
as appendices. And then we'll also focus on that executive summary. We'll focus on the main things, because we also don't want a long report. We should be able to abstract information and submit an update that will go to executive management in terms of what has this project achieved, what are the gaps, and what is the outlook into the future in terms of the way forward. So I'm okay with that, but I will submit a comment in terms of the specific things that I would like to see updated on the individual reports, and then zoom into recommendations, gaps, and proposed way forward. What can be done with this information and what can't be done.
Okay, no, that's 100%. What I did want to discuss with you is these limnology models that we've done over here. They take quite a long time to run, but there are specific periods where we could have a look at them. But there's a caveat associated with that, is those periods do need to be, one, we've got measurements related to them, and we've been able to kind of simulate SWOT results associated with that. So we've tried to update the SWOT to the latest thing, but it also depends on some of the rainfall data that we've got related to that. So I just need to find another sort of model period just to validate these results against some other algae plume information before I can sort of finalize that. So that's the next element that we want to have a look at. And then I want to have a workshop with water quality to review the outputs and discuss that. And then we can discuss final presentation for final discussion. I mean, you might want to have a management meeting related to that. And then final methods and discussions for continued improvement of these systems, I think, is quite critical. Futhi, if you're talking, you're on mute.
Yes, I've been muted and I was talking. Thanks. I was saying, for the workshop with the water quality guys, it doesn't have to be all of them, just the people who are knowledgeable and we know that can support us and help us close some of the gaps. Do you have dates in mind that we can work with? Maybe in the third week or second week of June, and then we can try and set up that online workshop with them and have at least 2 or 3 of the scientists supporting this, because it's supposed to inform closeout reports, but we just need that input from their side. And maybe in that workshop, we can also have the water quality guys from DWS, because they know this system fairly well. Also, they've been working with Swartdel as well.
Yeah. Look, I think probably mid-June is going to be a little bit too early for that workshop. If you're going to try and get everybody involved, I also see there's a public holiday on the 16th, which means that the availability of people is going to be slightly limited for that week. So maybe the 21st to the 21st to the 27th is probably the time period that you need to or could have a look at.
Maybe early 21, 22, 23, if we can look at that, because aren't we supposed to be finalizing this before the end of June? Because we've got this final submission also with that we need to meet for our targets. That's number one. Number two, it's the end of the financial year. If we're closing this project, the best time to close it with all the payments is now, like the first week of July in terms of the payments, is then.
Yeah, well, I think that's fine, Futhi. I mean, we'll have to get the reports, etc., out for you associated with that. So it would have to be the 21st and 22nd of
Okay, let me just check
June.
my calendar as well, that of that
So
week.
it's the 22nd and 23rd of June, I think. Sorry.
Yeah, I can do the 22nd from my side. 23rd is doable. We just need to check with the relevant parties. But
Okay.
for me, the key thing is to get people who are specialists in this area. It doesn't matter whether they're from Umgeni Utugela or not, but it would be best if we can get people from Umgeni Utugela because yeah, they work with the water quality parameters that you've been looking at and have this water quality index. So we'll try our best to get representative who can be active. The one thing I liked about Kim is that she was actively involved, but other scientists, they would be at the meeting, but they wouldn't be as active.
Okay, I'm happy with that. So I'll send out email today for the 22nd and 23rd of June. I'll then we'll get everything ready, and we'll try and have a report out for you by mid June. So between the probably the 17th of June, I would say we could probably get that out for you, Fuji. So the final sort of consolidated report. Fuji, I'm going to send you through all of the deliverables that we've done so that we can have the comments for you from those short reports, or not short reports, none of them are short, but the other reports that we've got. So if you can just add those comments in, and then we can wrap that up as well. Okay.
So are you going to be sending the meeting invites for the 22nd or 23rd? And are you looking for both days or just one day? Because I'm still need to check the availability for the people who can support us, the water quality people.
Yeah, so I'm available on both those days. I
But you
have
need
got
one
some
day.
meetings, but I can move them. But I think I think what we could have is we could have a sort of 3-hour session broken up into 2 days, if you like. So sorry, a 3-hour session on one day and maybe a 2-hour session on another day to have these discussions, so that we're not taking up too much time on a specific day, or maybe 2 hours, I don't know. I think a minimum we'd need 2 hours on a specific day, and maybe
It's like that. Yeah, because it would have been great if we just need one day, we do the straight 4 hours. We try
okay.
and get everything in the 4 hours because it's hard to get people to be part
Okay.
of these for 2 days.
Yeah,
How about
Fuji, it
that?
also depends whether we need 4 hours. I mean, we might be able to do it in 2,
Okay.
but
So
I'm a little
we,
bit hesitant to do that because there might be additional outputs. Maybe we can make it a 3-hour session. How's that?
yeah,
And compromise between the two. Okay,
we rely
that's
on
fine.
you. You are the one who knows how long will you need for the session. But if it can be 3 hours, I think that would be best.
Okay, we'll do that. It's 100%.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, 22nd and 23rd. That's perfect. Yeah.
Those are the tentative dates.
Yes.
22nd works for me and 23rd works for me. Then we will check the guys for availability in those dates, and then we take the best option.
Okay, perfect. That's great.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Thanks. Um, okay, so that covers basically everything. I mean, I've kept this, I think we're probably 15 minutes over our time already. Risks are the same risks that have been permeating through. I don't know whether you want another meeting just to discuss the inputs to that particular presentation and the final wrap-ups, Futi, but maybe we can have that on maybe the 17th, which is just after the public holiday. I don't know, and that's a week before the 23rd and the 22nd.
Okay, so I think the determining factor for that meeting would be the reports that you will send for me to review. And the meeting that we're going to have on the 22nd, will we not need to then decide in terms of in terms of how we finalize the closeout reports with those inputs?
Yeah.
Do you feel like we need a meeting before that? Because I think the 22nd will be more informative and will help us in terms of decision making. Because even myself, your presentations today were just an update, but with that meeting, you'll be more detailed in terms of what has been done. And getting inputs from the water quality guys and DWS. So for me, if we need to have a meeting, the 22nd will be a determining factor.
Yes, okay, that's fine. I'm happy to do it. I just thought you might want to see what I was going to go through in the actual presentation. But it's fine.
Okay,
I can
no
send you
problem. We
through.
can do that then. If you were thinking of preparing for that, then it's fine. We can do the 17th.
Yeah, so I thought you just might want to see what was there. I mean, we don't have to go for a long meeting. It can be about half an hour, just showing you what points I'm going to be covering, etc., and just get some inputs from you before that. So if we can do that on the 17th for half an hour, that would be great.
Okay, let's check the 17th because I've got another commitment. So we can finalize the time for the 17th after I've confirmed. Okay, on the 17th, I'm not available from 3 to from 1 to 4 because I've got a BSc meeting. But then before that, I have made myself available for a meeting with the CMA, but they have not confirmed whether they're taking the 17th or the 18th. So let me confirm whether we can do 17th or 18th after the CMA has confirmed which dates they're picking.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Understood. Yeah, great. Perfect. All right, I think that covers
Great.
everything that I needed to. Thank you very much for the chat.
Okay, so maybe from my side, are there gaps maybe in the whole project that would affect us meeting the deadline of the June annual payments? Or with these planned meetings, we'll be able to close all of the gaps?
I hope we'll be able to close everything, Fruity. I mean, from a reporting perspective, there's a massive amount of information. So I think you've got enough to, you've got deliverables related to the project. So might not have delivered quite the outputs that we wanted, but I mean, certainly there's good progress towards where we need to be. So I think from the satellite algorithms perspective, I'm actually quite confident. I think those are good. Just to note though that the satellite delivery continues till September. So if you're wanting to extend those, you'll have to then look at that from September onwards. That will sort of expire.
Yes, we're already talking about that internally. We'll talk to our information guys, ICT guys, in terms of expanding that subscription.
All right, excellent. All right, and then yeah, I think just also one of the aspects that you need to be aware of, and I'm not quite sure how to link it. One of the reasons that we've did these dashboards over here and have got them sort of printing out the way that they are, and we can change the colors a little bit, is actually having a look at a discussion with SANZA to see whether this is something that they would want to take up. So just be aware of that, but that also should happen before September related to that. And if SANZA is wanting to take this on and take it as a product, then what we might do is, then you would potentially fall under that and then get that information for as part of that subscription. but I don't want to preempt that process because it's a little bit difficult for me to do it. But I mean, if it does
Depends
happen,
on SENZA's decision. But also, once our water quality guys have seen it and you present more details on it when you give us that update, I think they can make a recommendation, or they will let us know if they're interested in it, because this is something we currently don't have in the organization, to see these distributions. If it's something that we can improve into the future, we will see with them. So what are the options if SENZA is not interested in taking it up? Is it something that you would run as a subscription with the continued support for it to improve it further? So we can look at those options as well in terms of subscriptions, because for us, it's to continually improve. It's not to start things and leave them, but improve what is currently not working to a point where our guys are capacitated and are able to run these things. Do we have access to this at the moment, Ntando? Are you able to interact with this dashboard?
No, so the dashboard, Ntando won't be able to see. What Ntando's got is he's got the ability to map this. I am meeting with Mark at the moment because we are developing this, and I'll then hopefully be able to allow you to see it in the next. It's probably going to be 2 or 3 weeks away to finalization. So certainly by that June date, we should have it finalized. Okay.
Yeah, personally, I am interested. My department is interested in that, but we need to know where are the gaps. Some of the work and the outputs, they make sense. Some needs to be confirmed, because like I told you, we also produce this information on a monthly basis. So let's try and benchmark it. And maybe I hope Cornelia has captured it on the minutes for us to, for you to look at aligning the colors, because it's not a huge difference. In our case, the good is green and the poor is actually brown, and the rest are the same, you know?
All right, that's fine.
So that it becomes easier to interact and compare with our data. I know we're not comparing apples with apples, but in the water quality index, they're also mapping the different water quality parameters. It's just that you wouldn't see the distribution in the index. They just look at the whole dam, and it's like a summarized or averaged sort of status, rather than looking at the individual parameters and their distribution.
So, Fruity, that's great. I think I just wanted to confirm something with you on that then, just before I go. So if can Ntando please send through a maybe it's under general, I think it might be. It's not it. I would need that, your updated water quality setup. Reference reports. No, it's not that. It's
Jason, are you looking? Is that not already on the Google Drive? I think you might have those guidelines.
Okay.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, I think I had it's one of these. Just want to check it's the same type of thing, but yeah, okay, I'll have a look on the guidelines. I just want to see whether this is the information that is. So you're talking about this?
The loads report.
Yeah.
And are you talking about this?
So there's that reports with the colors, exactly as you were saying, Foots.
Or the water quality index.
Yes.
Okay.
It's a water resource status report, water quality status, water resource quality status.
Okay, so it's not quite the same as this, is it? It's
No, that
this
is
is-
more like of the loads.
is it this sort of thing, or is it?
No, this is talking to the loads.
Okay, all right. So this is not. It's not this one. Okay, I will get that. I will confirm that with you and Tandu after this meeting, and then we can discuss it. And
Yes,
make sure that
I'm looking for the reports. I'll send that to you after the meeting.
perfect. That's great. All right.
Yeah, so yeah, maybe have it in mind that if there's a subscription, you'll have to quote us for so that we see if we do even have a budget for that water
Okay.
quality dashboard, include support hours for further improving it. Because it would be a missed opportunity if we are not able to take up some of this work that has been started that can improve our decision making. But hopefully Senza can take it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's fine, Futi. I'll do that. Yeah, I mean, what we can do is we can put in a budget for it, and if Sansa does pick it up, then we'll just revert that budget back to you. I think that's probably the easiest way to do it, if that's okay.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. And yeah, hopefully they respond sooner, because it might be easier to link it with the satellite subscription when we're talking to our ICT to look into taking that up, so that
Yes.
we don't do a separate submission. Yeah, and if it's still within this financial year, planning for the next financial year, it was gonna be easier. But either
Okay.
way, if the discussions take longer, we can still motivate and indicate that it was an output from our project that we wouldn't like to just leave out just like that.
Okay. Well, I'll get those budgets for you, Fruity, and send it through so we can have a look at it. If that's
Okay, thanks.
so I'll try and get that before end of month, certainly. Yeah.
Thank you.
Cool. All right, excellent. Okay, I think that covers me with everything. I don't know whether there's anything else you want to discuss, but I'm happy from my side.
Oh, yeah, from my side, one thing I wanted to check, do you still produce that monthly project progress reports that would show what has been done, completed, what has not been completed?
Yes, we do, Fruity. I haven't
Maybe
done
if you can,
this month's one, yeah, but it'll be done now.
yeah, maybe if I can have the latest one just to have a look at that. And your presentations that you normally present during these progress meetings, they also help. If you can also share this one as well.
Yes, yeah, those will all be on the, I think every single one of them is on the Google Drive or shared drive, Fruity.
Okay.
So we'll send you the links for that. Okay,
Okay. Thanks.
cool. All right, excellent. Thanks.
Okay. Cheers. Cheers.
Cheerio. Bye-bye, everybody. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.